we are now coming together, both Remi and we are going to be bringing forth information that is going to release you from things that are holding you, things that are holding you in your subconscious, in your conscious, things that you do know about and things that you don't know about. And now it's time to create a frequency and a space for you to be able to transmute that instantly. And we're going to speak very much in the now moment. We are completely obedient to spirit and we'll do our job perfectly together so that we're providing the perfect platform for you. We do this in love and we do this in great respect because our heart's desire is for you to be completely in alignment with your birthright, with your connection to spirit, and with your connection to the divine. That is our will. And being high beings as we are, and ascended souls and whatnot, when we combine together, our desire is amplified. So within the name of divine, we set that intention and it lasts for as long as is perfect. And what we produce is perfect for all of our websites. Wherever we're putting it, it is perfect and it's pulling in exactly who and reaching exactly who it needs to. Okay. Okay, I'm good now.
And I agree with what Juliana Grace is saying. And she's in Britain, and I'm Remi, and I'm in Canada, and we were guided for our energies to come together. Both of us work as transformers and clearer of obstructions and helping people to connect with the divine. And that's the goal in terms of this video that we're doing right now.
And yes, Remi, do you
Go
want
ahead.
something? So I feel like working with exactly what is happening now because when Remi and I connect, we are on the same frequency. You are hearing the same thing, and I know that if we're hearing the same thing, so many other people are hearing the same thing. And the one thing that I've heard this week, Remi, is divine masculine having a difficulty manifesting in a relationship where they feel powerful, where they feel like they can trust, where they feel like they can share. This is something that I've seen on more than 2 accounts this week. So I put it to you to perhaps if you could give some feeling as to what that would be about.
In terms of I want to make sure that I understand you. In terms of the masculine manifesting, in terms of being in a sacred relationship.
Yes.
Okay. Give me a few seconds. I feel in. Get guided. Well, the number of things that are coming to mind. So one of them is that the divine feminine is really scared of the masculine. So there's some layers there in terms of past lives, in terms of ancestral trauma, in terms of this lifetime, and etc. So as the divine masculine comes closer to the divine feminine, she goes, yikes. So as a divine masculine can come in absolute purity, and there's still a yikes reaction.
Yes.
So she needs to connect with her essence, her higher, wiser side, in order not to get caught up into that. And they can use the energies of their divine connection to transmute their basements. So so part of what can happen is she says yes and comes forward, and there's a underlayer in him that goes yikes. So then he runs for the hills. So to be able to have sacred union and for ongoing rather than 2 minutes or 2 days or 2 weeks or whatever, and to be able to transmute together, we need to really focus on how can we dance together as best we can. So that's an inside job to begin with for both.
Yeah.
Let me connect with my inner sacred part. And let me create space between you and I, so I'll be open as much as possible. And then stuff is going to come up to be transmuted. As you bring in more light, the basement shows up. So Juliana Grace and I approach it differently, but we're very in sync in terms of the goals. Um, so let me see if there's more I want to say. I don't think so. So I'd like to do a chunk of clearing in relation to this. So you see where you want to go first.
Mm-hmm.
You
So
want me to do that?
yes, I really feel that. So I wanted to kind of speak about things before we do the clearing so that people can really feel into it, because I feel like it's when we get connected to the issues that we really hate and we really want to avoid at all costs. Because if we don't get connected to them, how can we transmute them when we don't get connected to them? And union is fearful. It is scary as hell. And when Remi is describing it is so strong. And especially if you're a powerful soul, if you're an old soul, the energy that can happen when you unite with a counterpart it can transform the world. Like it can transform people around you like two strong magnets. So this is not just about having a nice relationship, settling down. This is about making massive waves. And sometimes when we think about a relationship, we think about, oh, it's going to be nice and we can settle and we can relax and go quietly into the night, when really it's the opposite, isn't it, Remi? It's like the fire burns brighter, and what we truly are, it comes out. And so this fear as well, this fear is real, because everything that we hide from the other, that we kind of hope to be with the other so that we don't ever have to see it, and we can kind of just, be, just have it like on the surface. It's opposite. Everything has to come out. And it is terrifying. There is not one person in this realm that could go into union and not be scared shitless. So I wanted to kind of like bring in the true intensity and why. If you look around, you can see couples together. There's a distinct difference between a couple that is divinely put together and doing this work and a couple that is leaning upon one another. There's such a big difference. And usually what we see is a couple leaning on each other, which is not a union as such. So I just wanted to kind of bring that in so they can understand the feeling and the intensity of what it is to be completely vulnerable and real with no kind of protection in a union with a counterpart.
Everybody feel that space that we're creating now? It has to bring in the divine more fully for each of you watching this. One layer of obstruction is in our cord, our divine cord. It's called our galactic cord. It gets broken by various dark energies. Let's ask for that to be repaired. We'll start with our heart chakra. To fill up your heart. You can think of the heart chakra that everybody talks about, and think of a little higher than that, 2 inches, 5 centimeters higher than that, center of compassion. You need to have compassion for yourself and for the other guy. Both of you, the feminine and the masculine. You're both terrified under the surface. Maybe right on the surface. Maybe it dominates everything. So it's useful to think of the tears. It's much more complex than that, but it's useful to think of the tears and so forth as being in our inner child, in our lower 3 chakras. So let's do a little clearing regarding that. And I'll do a little bit more clearing after that. And then we'll go back to Juliana Grace. So let's ask for Goddess Kuan Yin to go into your lower 3 chakras, into your belly. And transmute the terror that's there. Some of it's your terror from this lifetime. Clear. Lords of Karma, Archangel Michael, Claire. Some of it is terror that your parents had before your birth. So it's them as individuals, but it's also ancestral. So both layers. So has to clear a bit of that. Some of it is collective consciousness. People talking about the dirty dog over there, whether it's female or male, as being dangerous. So idealized the movie star thing, and then the media and etc. talks about those guys are very dangerous. Clear that collective consciousness energy from your field. Some of that's in your aura. Clear. And some of it is soul wounds. It's past life stuff. So we need to clear the past life issues, but there's also wounding at the soul level. In terms of there's a yearning for sacred union, and there's also a terror. As a yearning is a very sacred energy, but there's also an aspect that's wounding. It's woundedness, and so I have to have you, otherwise my life is toast. So, and the other part says, you're going to destroy me. I'm out of here. I got to go do whatever mission, cocaine, whatever it might be. So we clear the terror for both, and between, there's an energy between both, and there's various energies, various beings that are obstruct as well. So let's ask to clear those various layers. The way I work is work with various beings. So we're doing a really brief overview in terms of various aspects, but you feel into the energies and allow the healing to go more deeply. Okay, over to you.
So something comes up, and it's a using, it's like a using the other's energy in order to gain. I feel like it's not, this is not what it's like consciously. It's the gain, it's to go home, it's to gain connection with the divine, to gain complete union with the divine, using like what the opposite possesses in order to go. So it's basically, see if I can articulate this better. And I need to clear some of it while I connect to it. It comes from a lack of trust. Just one moment, Remi, I'll get there. It's something to do with the idea that we're separate. So when we come with another, even the idea that the other person is separate to us is actually like a thought form that can actually continue, can influence and affect the bonding. The truth is, the person who's coming is like a mirror of oneself. And so the idea of, it's almost like the idea of coming into union is literally me and that person. It's like a dualistic type of presentation, and within that, it's like it's healing the idea that we're separate, and at the same time understanding that in relationship, when we're in a relationship, the truth is that yes, we are complete in ourselves. We are always complete in ourselves, and especially with our divine connection, always, whether we're with somebody or without somebody. But the truth is, when you're in a relationship, you're in a cooperative. You're very much working together, very much have equal responsibility, and very much need to know that you can rely on that other person. And so that you can have this movement, you can have this flow between the two. And the thing is that is so critical for it to be able to be harmonious and for it to be transcendent. Because really, from my presentation, as Remi says, we have different ways of looking at this. And the relationship from my presentation is a measuring stick to see just how far integrated we are into understanding singularity, that we are all and we are everything. And so when we come into meet the other, it's really like testing, how much have you done? How much do you realize what you are? How much have you integrated? And it's like, we need to be able to trust that other. We need to be able to trust deeply in ourselves, because whatever we don't trust within ourselves, how maybe we have let ourselves down, maybe how we have like avoided something in ourselves. So I feel like this one particular thing, I feel like I'm getting there now, and I'm hoping, Rem, you're feeling it. It's a feeling of a lack of self-trust, which is directly related to coming home and being able to come home, and that being represented within the other. And it's knowing that you can actually do this with the other, rather than have to kind of control the other so that you can then do the dance. It's a being able to completely trust. It's actually about being able to completely trust oneself. Remi, do you feel what I'm talking about, or see?
Absolutely. See if you want to do more with this, whether say more or do a clearing, or we're winding down, or you want me to do a little more, just check in.
I do a little bit of light language, because when we're going into the singularity, it's like going into realms beyond, if that makes sense.
You might want to explain the light language a tiny bit, because some people won't know about it.
Okay, thank you. So light language is a gobbledygook language which you're not meant to understand consciously. If anything, it is coming through as a frequency, and it's specifically designed so that it has an effect on your soul, on your spirit, on your energetic bodies, your physical body, as well as your mental, emotional, going all the way up to galactic body. So, but it's a way of being able to communicate, a gateway. So if I speak the light language, it's a frequency. Again, you're not meant to understand it. It's not meant to make any sense whatsoever, because it's bypassing the conscious mind. But what it will do when you receive it, it's like it opens a gateway to further to integration, or to further possibility. And so when you hear it, it can be a little bit uncomfortable, and that's fine, because you know, when you're receiving something that is different, and that's a good thing, because it's kind of challenging some of these things we have heavy weight down. So the tip is, whenever you're receiving it, you just keep your body super relaxed, like even like your hip sockets and your tummy and your chest and your shoulders and your head. And so the way that it can come through is just through the vibration, but it also can be through movement. Many people use their hands and they'll do things and everything, but all we're doing here is bringing in a higher possibility so that you're able to integrate and to release. So just to remember, what we're actually talking about is trusting oneself and not being in fear of oneself, because what happens in our life when we have things that happen, it can be so like traumatic and so heavy and stressful. And the message really is to understand that whatever happens in our lifetime, to never ever be worried about it. It's nothing ever happens to us that is like a dirty secret or something really heavy and scary that we must protect at all costs. The truth is that when we come in this world as a soul, we are destined to experience all different frequencies. And something which may be at the root of not being able to trust yourself is a frequency that you may feel shame about. And that's understandable, okay? But the higher vibration, when you get light language, it kind of puts things into context because it's just a vibration on the David Hawkins level of vibration. It's just a vibration. And so when the light language comes in, it enables to kind of go down there, really worm, to the place where that real seed of discontent, the real seed of I can't deal with this one thing about myself. I don't trust this thing about myself, right? Just trust that you don't know yourself and just allow yourself to be able to open. Because the truth is, when we come into union, which we all deserve, and when we bond, it is about, it's the bliss comes from the fact that you can actually let go. It's like you can release, and the experience of physical union is the experience of divine in flesh. It's incredible. So the idea of coming into union is understanding that anything that we're holding on to will come to the light. It will. Don't ever think that it's not going to. It is. And the wonderful thing is, because these deep things are almost like lies, okay? They're just experiences. They're just things. And when you bring the light to them and you relax your body, you relax your hips and relax your legs, and it doesn't really matter if I'm saying the light language, but it's like the frequency of my voice, it's going to those places. Because sometimes the deepest things that we don't want anyone to know about ourselves or anyone to see, like, ironically, they're nothing. They're nothing, okay? They're nothing. If there's something that you don't trust about yourself, you just bring your attention to it and you give it space. When you bring attention and you're focused and you be with it, that is being in your God presence. When you just be with something you cannot, you abhor about yourself, it doesn't matter. I don't care what you think. You just sit with it, be with it. And in that presence is your divine energy. That is the union of divine being there, and just let it happen. Let it happen and relax and trust the process. Trust the process. The one thing, Remi, like I have definitely understood in my experience is that anything good, anything amazing that I've done in my healing is because I opened up the divine to help me, whether it was a divine being, whether it was a divine itself, whether it is Archangel Michael or Goddess Kuan Yin. I opened up and I just showed, this is who I am. And in that moment, it was like a funny thing. It was like, okay, that's fine, because the love is unconditional. It's unconditional. There is not one thing that the divine will not love to pieces and will not heal and bring back to natural state. Oh no. And I know you have this feeling and understanding, Remi, you know? We're so lucky to have our divine connection. It does everything for us. I feel now like my thing is now clearing, and it'll just happen through time. And I pass back to you, my beautiful Remi.
So Juliana Grace and I just met very recently, and we found that we can dance incredibly together immediately. So this is our third meeting, and we're just guided to share our joint energy and our joint ways of transforming with the world. And this is what we're doing now with you. This is our first video in terms of going out into the world. So if you have any questions, you'll get our contact info at the end of the video. So I'm ready to wind down now, and I'm going to check with you and see if there's anything more you want to say. But I'm really grateful for those of you who are with us. Yes. Grateful for you being with us.
So
grateful. And the goal, the essential goal, is to dance with the universe more and more fully, and to dance with the universe within ourselves, and to allow the universe, the gods, the other guy, in our relationship, to come in and help to transmute those parts that are not a perfect light, or there are perfect light, but that feels that they're not, however you want to define that.
So perfect. Thank you so much, Remi. And I feel like the same. I feel the winding down and I feel the completion for now.
Everybody, take care for now. Namaste.
Namaste.